Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Amy. Today we are going to be doing a Q1 wrap-up of everything that I've read between January and March. I'm going to be going in chronological order, so book 1 is the first read of 2025 and it goes down the list like that. I have 14 books to get through, so we're going to jump right in. Starting off strong, I read Blue Light Hours by Bruna Dantas Lobato. This is a very cozy, quiet slice of life novel. We follow a student who moves from Brazil to Vermont to study the liberal arts, and while she is reading, writing, and learning in another language, she is still tethered to her mother back home, who just wants to know regular mom stuff. Is she eating enough? Is she sleeping okay? Has she made any friends? This is told through the lens of a Skype window, and it manages to bring something very humane to the table, although it is in a very pixelated format. It explores identity, language, heritage, and the disconnect between who you were and who you are becoming. So if you like a all plot, no plot, just vibes kind of novel, then I think you would really enjoy this one. Next up, we have The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. This was a personal recommendation, and by personal recommendation, I mean a friend hand-delivered it to me and said, you need to read this. So I did. This is a tale about two twins, Stella and Desiree, who run away from their town when they are quite young. Years later, one returns to the town with her daughter, while the other is passing as white and living in total secrecy. When their daughters happen to meet each other, general chaos and generational trauma ensues. It is part mystery, part generational tale. It's got some really good trance rep in it, some beautiful writing, and I personally loved watching the past and the present converge in this one. And then I am entering my His Dark Materials era about 15 years after everybody else, but better late than never. I read the second book in the trilogy, The Subtle Knife by Philip Pullman. I can't say too much about this one without spoiling book 1, but if somehow you missed the series when it came out initially, we are following Lyra, and Lyra lives in a parallel Oxford in which people have demons, which I can best describe as a physical manifestation of your soul in the form of an animal companion. Lyra is phenomenal. She is scrappy, mischievous, and physically incapable of staying out of trouble. And when children in her area start going missing, she decides she is going to get into the bottom of it. The audiobook was phenomenal. The adventuring was top tier. And I would recommend this if you are a fan of magic, mystery, and a girl with big get in loser, we're going adventuring energy. Next up, we have The Burning Chambers by Kate Moss. I was inspired to pick this up after watching an interview that Lena Norms did with Kate Moss on her channel, so I will link that below if you are interested. In this one, we follow 19-year-old Manu. She is bookish and minding her own business in her dad's bookshop when she receives an anonymous letter warning her against an unknown enemy. Love that for her. Cue religious war, family drama, forbidden love, betrayal, you name it. France is in turmoil, loyalties are shifting, neighbors turn hostile, and Manu's beliefs are pushed to their limits. I personally am very excited because this is the first in a series, and I don't know if it's the last book, but the most recent book came out last year, and I snagged the most beautiful copy. It is also signed by Miss Moss, which I am obnoxiously proud of. Apparently, I read more historical fiction than I thought I did because the next one also lives in the past. I read The Glassmaker by Tracy Chevalier. This is her newest novel. Chevalier is kind of known for writing women doing trades in eras where they weren't really allowed to be doing trades, and I have enjoyed her other books more. But in this one, we follow Ursula. She is the eldest daughter of the Rosso family, and when her father suddenly passes away, her brother is tasked with running the family glass business. He is very ill-equipped, to take over the business, and so Ursula starts selling glass beads to try and keep her family afloat, because if there is something she cannot do, it is sit in the sidelines. While I thought the audiobook was really good, there was a stylistic choice in this one that I'm not entirely sure worked for me. Having said that, however, if you are a fan of women making beautiful things under patriarchal nonsense, then I think this is worth a look. Next up, I read I'd Like to Say Sorry, But There's No One to Say Sorry To by Mikolaj Grainberg. I'm not entirely sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Apologies. And in this one, we have a collection of short vignettes about Jewish life in Poland. In just a few pages per story, Grainberg is able to deliver what I can describe as a roundhouse kick to the chest. It was quiet but impactful. We cover themes of heritage, identity, trauma, and disaster tourism, but it is done with such restraint and respect. I really enjoyed this one. I won't say too much more on it because part of the experience was going in blind, but I will say that it is short, it is powerful, and I think it's definitely worth your time. Next up, we have The Men We Reaped by Jasmine Ward, and this one hurt a lot. I read it about 2 months ago, and I am still not okay. So in Jasmine Ward's memoir, we really talk about the intersectionality of Blackness, masculinity, and systemic violence in America, specifically focusing on how poverty, lack of opportunity, and race compound in very real and devastating ways. This book is unflinching. It is raw. It is emotional. This is simultaneously a call to action and a memorial written in both extreme rage and extreme care. This was a 6 out of 5 stars for me. It is a very hard read, but I think it is a very necessary read in my opinion. I would make it required reading if I could. So if you are going to take one recommendation from me this quarter, please let it be this book. Okay, I'm going to need you to buckle up for the next one. I read The Appointment by Katharina Vlockmer, and this is her debut novel. In this novel, we follow our narrator as she essentially exposes herself to a therapist in a really long therapy session. It is stream of consciousness, and we cover a lot of ground. We go all the way from daddy issues to really explicit desires, and questionable ones at that. So this is definitely not for everyone. It is not a book I would recommend widely. If you don't like an unreliable or unlikable narrator, I would give this one a skip, as well as if you are squeamish about very explicit content, please do check trigger warnings before diving into this one. I read some sentences that I can't ever unread, but if a German Otessa Moshfig but on crack sounds like a vibe to you, then you might weirdly enjoy this and feel guilty about enjoying it the entire time. I did enjoy some of the discussions that were had around sexuality and gender roles, but overall I would be very wary about this one. Then we have Change a Method by Edouard Louis. I don't know if I said that right. And after the gut-wrenching Jasmine Ward, I was hoping for another standout memoir. In this one, we talk about transformation, class, and queerness, which are usually themes I enjoy reading about. But personally, this one just dragged for me and felt very pretentious in all of the worst ways. So unfortunately, this one was a miss, but if you have anything that covers similar content or topics that you think I should read, please do let me know down below. Next up then we have Olivia by Dorothy Bussey, and this is lesbian boarding school meets classic. It is 135 pages of forbidden glances, yearning, adolescent musings on art, and tragic French woman vibes. We follow Olivia, who goes to a boarding school and is very taken by one of her teachers, who introduces her to the world of art, literature, and liking other girls. If I could compare it to anything, I would compare it to it's like the movie Carol had a baby with Dead Poet Society. That is what this little gay novella is. It is soft spoken, or it has a soft focus. It is melancholic. It is perfect for if you want to feel sad and literary at the same time. Then we have civil servants, time travel, and historical figures. I am, of course, talking about The Ministry of Time by Kayleigh Bradley. I feel like everybody and their mom has read this book and loved it. And as much as I enjoyed watching 1800s Commander Graham Gore use Spotify for the first time, this wasn't for me. I personally think that this book did not stick the landing, and I think I will remember the concept more so than the actual book, and I read it because it was part of the Women's Prize for Fiction longlist. So it was longlisted, which means that a lot of people are enjoying it. I have seen a lot of other creators enjoy this book very much, so don't take my word for it. If it sounds like something you would like to read, please go pick it up, check it out. But ultimately, not a me book. I also read All Fours by Miranda July. It was also on the Women's Prize longlist. Here we follow a semi-famous writer who decides to take a road trip across America. But not very far into the road trip, she decides to turn around and secretly live in a motel 30 minutes away from her house. And it is just really a prime example of unhinged woman lit. So if that sounds like something you like, we talk about themes such as family structures, female desire, and menopause. It is horny, it is hilarious. I personally love this one. I have seen some very mixed reviews. Please check out trigger warnings before you do go into it. It does get a little bit weird in the middle there. But personally, I thought this one was a hit, and I checked last night, and I am very happy to say that it has made the shortlist. Lastly, we have Weather by Jenny Orfhill, and this one was kind of a letdown for me, I'm not gonna lie. I was really intrigued by the premise. We follow Lizzie, who answers her friend's fan mail. Her friend has a podcast that attracts a wide assortment of characters. But there were a couple of things that just didn't work for me in this book. Firstly, it was very non-linear, and so I had trouble keeping up. I wasn't really sure where we were or what we were doing a lot of the time. It is also very stream of consciousness, which again is usually a feature that I like in a book, but it is something about it was also just a little bit off-putting for me, in the sense of I felt like there were a lot of unfinished thoughts. I'm also not entirely sure what themes we were following, and so while the formatting initially sounded really interesting, it just again didn't stick the landing. But that is it. That is everything I read in the first quarter of the year. Please let me know if you are following the Women's Prize. If you are, have you read any of the books in the shortlist? Who do you think is going to win? And if you aren't, but you would like to leave me a comment anyway, please leave me the little red car for All Fours by Miranda July. I hope you are doing well. Thank you for hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one.